This is Michaela McLean, and you're listening to Beauty by Design. Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining me. It's time to talk about our next skate. And I don't know about you, but I'm ready for a new beginning. So that is exactly what this skate is all about. Before we get into it, of course, let me tell you about a few things going on. I have a big giveaway happening. I'm giving away one ticket to Aesthetic Next 5.0. And so I'm like, it's the aesthetic conference of the year. This is in Dallas, Texas, and it runs from September 7th through September 10th. It's amazing. So if you are an esthetician, if you're a nurse injector, if you're, mid-level doctor, whatever, and you've never been, or you have been and you know how good it is, it's like, hey, why not win a free ticket? It's valued at $975 to attend this conference. So that right there, good reason to do it. And one of the cool things too is that if you are not able to attend in person, it is also offered virtually. So, hey, like, and there's so many, I can't remember, there's over 100, it's 100 and something speakers like on faculty this year. So, I mean, there is somebody talking about all kinds of things that may interest you no matter what field of aesthetics that you're in. So, highly recommend that you enter the giveaway. It's going to be open, obviously now, and then I'm going to close it at 11 p.m. on July 29th. Going to announce the winner the next day on the July 30th episode. There's special reasons why I want to do on that one. But how to enter, right? That's the important stuff. How to enter, follow Aesthetic Record as well as myself. So those two accounts, and then leave Beauty by Design, this podcast, a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. That's it. I know sometimes people ask, like, but I don't have Apple, or maybe you've left a review before for some reason. I'm like, grab your friend's phone, grab a family member's phone. Like, that's all good. And that's it. So follow myself, follow Aesthetic Record, leave the podcast a 5-star rating and review, and you are entered to win. So once people have, fulfilled that requirement, the people that have, they will be added to that pool, and one winner will be drawn at random. Like I said, we'll be announcing that on the July 30th episode. So for full details, you can go over to Instagram and check out that post. It is pinned to the top currently. Yeah. So there's that. Super excited about that. Also, trainings. I'm going to be not just lecturing this year, but I'm also going to be teaching a hands-on workshop, training people in energetic aesthetics. So energy work. I mean, I am so looking forward to this. This is where everything is like culminating. So I'll be doing like a level 1 certification. Um, that is in addition to, your ticket to attend. So that workshop, just for reference, is called Incorporating Alternative Modalities into Clinical Service. So it's really cool because over time I've really realized how to incorporate this, how to get all of it to slide in really beautifully in a very, I keep saying, clinically palatable way, you know? So that is going to be on September 8th. If you're planning for Aesthetic Next and if you're budgeting, that workshop, like I said, is in addition to your ticket, and it's $335 to attend. So it's the afternoon of September 8th. Josh Davis, aka Talks Josh, is going to be assisting me in teaching that. But like I said, I'm so excited. It's going to fold in human design. There's just I don't know. I'm getting so excited. This being like the third year, I'm like, third time's a charm. I just, education is everything to me, and really sharing healing tools, for people is just, I don't know, I'm kind of over the moon, you know what I mean? So um moving on, I have a new Nidra energy cleanse, for cleaning, like I said, cleaning out your energy, a deep cleanse facial, essentially, for you, for your aura, for your vibe. um you have my golden experience guide course. If you want to learn human design from the ground up, and how to take that into your marketing and marketing yourself in your aesthetics business. But really, I mean, it's human design. Like you're learning this, we're applying it to that. My Solo Esthetician Love Academy, my part in that esoteric education for estheticians, I'm going to be having my first office hours here. So that is a monthly membership where you have, like I said, Golden Experience Guide, you're purchasing my course. I will have office hours and you'll have access to me in one way. And then Solo Esthetician is a membership where you belong. You get access to everybody's courses, everybody's office hours for a certain amount per month. So again, just different ways to work with me. And I'm excited over there because we're really gonna focus on some astrology and human design and all kinds of fun stuff and really incorporating it into your everyday practice in a sense. I have some ideas of how, just I don't want to give too much away, but basically some really cool things of creative ideas for people to even seasonally, astrologically seasonal work this stuff into their practices from crystals to oils and whatnot. And then I just love interacting with people, like getting to answer questions and look at people's charts. So it's just going to be really heavy on that whole end of the spectrum. And then of course, I have Little Fox event coming up. We are going to Beauty Heroes in Novato, California, San Francisco area. So I'm not sure. I'm not handling any of this, but I'm not sure where tickets are at this time. It's very limited and it's two nights. Here we are, let's see, it's 19th and 20th. But if that interests you to come and do like a beauty ritual in their beautiful space and not just one, but two new Little Fox products are going to be, shown, released, teased at this event. So very, very, I don't know, like just jazzed about that one. And of course, you can grab my free guide. You can grab the $11 master classes. If you're just like, I just want to get started, I just kind of want to know what you're talking about. I'm like, $11, that a coffee, 2 coffees, and then you have it for life, and you can access that as much as you want. It's a great, 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 great resource. So funny. I have so many friends, especially ones that are going through my course. And, when they go back and watch the aura type classes, they're like, oh my God, like things just continue to make more sense. And of course, it makes the podcast make more sense. So, like I said, I priced it that way because I wanted it to be accessible to people and, high value for that. So that said, so trainings, I know I mentioned that, but there's other stuff coming in the very near future. Some things that are kind of getting squeezed between Little Fox and Aesthetic Next, where I will be more available for some things. And again, I'm just kind of teasing. Can you hear it in my voice? I'm like, I am getting so worked up about this. Lots of excitement over here. And then I will have a new drop, a little project I'm working on for the Venus retrograde in Leo. So Leo season hits. I've got something coming for you that it's been on my to-do list for so long, but it's been, like sometimes those projects that are so like important to you, it just takes a while to have happen, but it all makes sense. It just suddenly all makes sense. And I think it's going to be a really beautiful way to integrate human design with like zero effort, if that gives you any clues. Okay. Anyway, let's get on with it. So links for everything are in the show notes or over at my Instagram bio at Michaela McLean. So go check it out. All right. So my disclaimer, as always, don't try to understand this at the mental level. We are just tapping into that sound current, the energy, the frequency of beauty. Let it sink deep into your skin cells like good skincare. So this week, today, the sun is entering into human design gate 53. We're still in Cancer season. And this is located in the root center, part of the collective sensing abstract circuitry. So this is the yin side of the chart. That's the side that's more experiential. It's the feminine, intuitive, receptive side of things that is focused on reflecting on and making sense of the past. So I like to say the abstract, it's like the been there, done that. I got the t-shirt. What's next? It's not trying to repeat things like the logic circuitry is, that collective piece. This is like, it's about the journey, not the destination. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm trying to have an experience, right? And then share about it. And if we look at the center itself, it's the root. Root is both a pressure and a motor center, and it pushes us to do and provides the adrenaline to carry out the action. So energy enters into the root and then it moves around the body graph. And in this case, it moves up to the sacral center. So this is interesting. Like this full channel, when we get there, it's like that is two motors hooking up together. Very, very powerful. Okay. Gate 53 is known as development. It's the gate of beginnings. And the keynote here is the pressure to begin, to start new things. So it's all about right timing and, paying attention to that root pulse. So this gate is about having the fuel or adrenaline from the root to start something new. Gate 53 is all about the start, not the finish. This is get it off the ground energy. You're not required to take it across the finish line. And in fact, unless you have the full channel, it's really not your responsibility. You have this energy that will attract others who are you're basically able to pass the baton off to them. And those are the people that arrive in your life, potentially an electromagnetic, and maybe they have the gate that matches, and they're the ones to help bring things to completion. So the low expression, obviously, it's like if you're unaware of it, this is an energy that could make you feel inadequate because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just one of those people. I always start things and I never finish them. Or, like you've been conditioned. You've had maybe parents or, somebody in your life saying that to you, like, well, you never finish what you start. So it's something you've internalized, right? And you're seeing it as a hang up rather than it's a gift where it's like, oh, I'm the springboard, to like action. I was just thinking about that. It's like I'm always in the pool in the summer. It's like a diving board, it's like giving you a launch pad, really, is what 53 is. So again, kind of continuing on the low expression is like basically it's entering into cycles of life incorrectly, meaning you're not following your strategy and authority according to your aura type. Which kind of leads to getting us stuck in this like Groundhog's Day situation where you're repeating the same patterns or stories over and over again, right? Where it's like, oh, I always, maybe it's like picking the wrong person, or I mean, it could be so many things, that it's like, why can I not bring this full circle? But it's like, because you didn't follow your strategy and authority in the first place. So you jump out before it's done. The high expression of 53 lies solely within the ability to follow your strategy and authority. This ensures that you enter into new cycles that are correct for you. If you're a manifester, that you are, getting a download and initiating the next cycle. Generators, manifesting generators, one and the same. You're responding to something that gets the party started. Projectors are being invited into a new cycle, and reflectors are being included, or they are being initiated into something new. So this is a gate where intention is everything, but letting go of expectation. Again, it's the journey, not the destination. So it's very reap what you sow, getting off on the right foot, like setting a positive intention at the beginning of your day or the new year, or, like whatever the cycle is. Because cycles are big and small, it literally could be, it's like, I intend to have a good day today, right? Or it's like, I'm setting an intention for an entire year, or a school year, or again, I don't need to tell you, but it's like there's so many cycles in life that you could apply this to. Okay, so in the gene keys, the shadow of this one is immaturity, the gift is expansion, and the city is superabundance. And in the gene keys, Richard Rudd talks about the importance of the intention again, right? Putting it into each new beginning. Our intentions always need to be pure and of the highest vibration. It makes me think of setting new moon intentions and how important that is, that we, like what we're wanting is not just good for us, but it's good for the whole, everyone. And beginning anything, essentially from a place of selfishness, from fear, ego, greed, it's not going to go very far. It's really not going to be successful. It's just going to fall off. And then in the 64 ways, he says expansion really refers to a ripening of our spirit. When our spirit ripens, our life tends to move naturally towards balance. Life is a holistic phenomenon, but we tend to compartmentalize our lives. We think of our relationships as one thing, our family, work, and health as another, but these are all one thing. Expansion in one area only creates imbalance. Maturity is to allow expansion to ripple throughout our whole life. And the secret to this is effortlessness. Expansion comes without effort and emerges naturally, slowly, quietly. It brings calm rather than excitement. It brings simplicity rather than complexity, perspective rather than ambition. It all comes through slowing down. And he goes on to say, one of the primary means to transcend suffering is to serve others selflessly. The selfless service is part of our expansion. We can't expand without serving others in some way. Service is a byproduct of love. So again, I love that he says that because, of course, he was a human design teacher, and that is right on theme with the collective circuitry. Like we're serving others through our own experience. Sometimes we forget that. It's like I had this experience to then share it, and then basically move everyone along with that wisdom, that lived wisdom. Okay, so notes here. This is part of a generated channel. So again, this is acting correctly in response. So waiting to respond, waiting for life to show up and basically, here it is. And then that's going to determine what you're correctly meant to commit your energy to versus being up in your head trying to force new beginnings. Like you're pushing for something to start rather than waiting for the right next thing to appear and initiate that beginning. So like I said, format energy. This complete channel, which we're going to talk about here in a minute, is one of 3 format energies or channels, and they flavor the rest of the channels in their circuit. Again, it's like seed energy. The collective logic or understanding is all about sitting still, studying, perfecting things, and basically, and then it's like you're going to respond to something that moves you forward. Collective abstract sensing is this one. This is cyclical, jumping into things through response, just for the experience of it, right? And then reflecting on the past once it's done. And then the individual knowing that's the one in the middle. This is individual, like that's the mutation that pulses on and off and is responding in the present moment. So it's funny because they go past, present, future, if you look at them. Format energy. Again, I just kind of want to focus on this because it's so powerful. And this one in particular gives the flavor of cycles, right, to every other gate and channel in the abstract circuit. So it's kind of interesting. Okay, so I'm going to pause here. I'm going to go off on a tangent because my son, my Pisces sun in gate 36 is part of abstract circuitry. And it's funny again to be a witness or an observer to these things and be like, oh yeah, okay. I totally observe like the even emotional cycles because it's an emotional solar plexus gate. I observe the emotional cycles that I go through, and I'm, undefined in the solar plexus, but you're still a witness to it and like understanding, wow, how I would just say even in like say the last year, some things that would used to throw me off a lot more and how I've like lived through those things and like matured, emotionally, right? So sorry, just a little personal side note there, from experience. So format energy, one of the things about those 6 gates or those 3 channels that occur, the top ones that connect the sacral to the root or vice versa. They can be a little bit prone to, like, depression for different reasons because it's like that root energy wants to go somewhere and wants to have something done, and so in the case of gate 53, that feeling can come from feeling stuck, trapped, like limitations, or from, again, the conditioning of not finishing what you started, and being this pressure to, like, I have to do it, and yet you don't have that energy within you. So again, a lot of it's just awareness of, like, who we are, how we've been built, and having grace, and self-acceptance. Okay. So the programming partner, meaning the sun is in Cancer right now in gate 53. The earth is automatically opposite in Capricorn, gate 54. And 54 is known as the marrying maiden. It's the gate of drive. And this is the pressure to achieve, to rise up, to transform. And this energy is all about ambition and achievement and ascending the mountain of success on the material plane. So this one, I'm like, somebody kind of called me out on this one. They were like, "Ooh, did you who hurt you?" Like with the gate 54, and I had to laugh because like my description of it triggered them. But again, I'm communicating, what this particular energy is about. So I'm just prefacing this by saying every single thing has a high and a low expression. Don't forget it, and don't only listen to the low expression and be so triggered that you miss the high expression. Very important, I always say it's like it's a polarity or a duality. It's a spectrum. Your part in it is knowing that about yourself, and actively choosing to animate these things in a high expression kind of way. Okay, sorry, back to the gate. So the low expression of 54 can be greedy, it's the desire to acquire for the self, whereas this is a tribal gate, so it's really about doing better and rising up with the purpose of bettering your whole group, your crew. Um, yeah, it's always about the tribe, having the tribe in mind for this, and when you're doing well, when your group is doing well, everybody goes up the ladder together, everybody's elevating as a whole. Um, yeah, and making sure that everybody's taken care of. So it's actually like, I mean, again, it's a beautiful energy, that people's physical material needs are met, being somebody like that. But again, it's like, am I doing this for myself and out of greed, or am I making sure that I'm taking care of my tribe, to use human design terms? Okay, so the gate that completes the channel is Aries, gate 42, forming the channel of maturation. And 42 is known as increase, it's the gate of growth. So the keynote here is that it closes a cycle and brings things to an end. So this one is about reaching the conclusion of the cycle or phase before moving on to the next one. It's got that wrapping up loose ends kind of vibe. It's the end of a chapter or a book before you start volume 2, or chapter 2, anything like that. It's like, you go through first grade and then you go into second grade. You end something so that then you can start the next phase, the next level. Video games, whatever. You're leveling up. So this one, it's like just wanting to be aware of the need for closure, and being aware of not entering into commitments that are incorrect for you. So again, we're just going to stress this with this whole channel. Strategy and authority is everything. Because again, this has got that potential Groundhog's Day thing happening here. And 42 also can have trouble getting started, leading to frustration. The key, the key not self for anybody with a defined sacral, and then also just the having great expectations versus enjoying the journey. Again, this whole channel, this whole circuitry is all about like discard the expectations and just go along for the ride, go along for the experience. And then, of course, the high expression of this one is like using the lessons that you've learned from living, constantly up leveling every time, you end a cycle. It's like recapping what's great, what do we take with us, and what do we discard and leave behind. But it's definitely a getting it done kind of energy, taking like I said, if 53 is not tasked with finishing, that's 42's job. It's like this is the guy in the relay race that grabs the baton and takes it over the finish line. And again, it's about maturity, learning and growing from your lived experiences, both the mistakes and the successes. Um, I'm always like, yep, it's the reaping what you've sown, right? So always, always, it's about the experience. So in the case of this channel, the channel of maturation, we have gate 53, the adrenalized pressure of the root center, coming up and connecting to the pure, consistent, and sustainable power of gate 42 in the sacral center for completion. This energy is cyclical, right? It's the spiral of life. So 53 is the pressure to get it done, and 42 provides the power and the sustainability to get stuff done. So when the two come together to form the channel of maturation, it is always going to be about waiting to respond. So, side note, if you have this full channel, you absolutely have to be either a generator or manifesting generator. No other type can have the whole thing. So when they come together, form the channel of maturation, it is always about waiting to respond, seeing each life cycle through to completion, and then reflecting on that cycle. So not about having goals. It's just like living and then seeing where that brings you. See what new wisdom has been acquired for you to build on for next time, leaning into the journey of life cycles, and all of the wisdom, and the knowledge that it brings. Again, imperative that these people fully subscribe to their strategy and authority, meaning waiting to respond, so that they only enter into what is absolutely correct for them, what's showing up, and then following it to completion. Actually, kind of saying that, I'm like, it's like Alice. It's like following the white rabbit down the rabbit hole and then having to go through the whole process, like to the end of the story to have had her trip. Okay. Um, so, again, take it to completion. Otherwise, you quit, you're going to be met with the same thing in a different form. There's that karmic loop, Groundhog's Day, what have you. And again, it's correct to share the findings that you receive from these experiences with the collective. That's what collective circuitry is about, sharing it to further humanity as a whole. Like everybody's going to benefit from your lived experience. And then astrologically, this channel would be a Cancer Aries square, right? So Cancer is the 53, Aries is the 42. They're both cardinal signs. They square each other. So that's tension for the sake of growth. And again, with cardinal signs, they're the get stuff started people, versus fixed signs where it's about holding steady, or mutable signs that are all about adaptation. And it really falls in line, in my opinion, with like what we know about this particular circuitry, right? It's about just get in it, get started, go live the experience. And gate 53 is in the wheel, the second quarter of the wheel, the quarter of civilization, which is purpose fulfilled through form. That's spirit into form. And then for my little esthetician connection. Okay, so my friend Josh, Agent RX, he was teasing me. He's like, you say this every time. I'm like, only recently, it's only been a few episodes that I said. Josh was like, you need to, talk about the esthetician connection. But as I was writing this one, I was like, oh yeah, this is good. So I was marinating on it. And I was like, well, think about this. 53, while this is active in the transits, it's, how many times are you meeting a new patient or client and entering into a new relationship with them? Being intentional, right? Let's go back to the gene keys, intentional about setting the tone of what this professional relationship is going to be like. Maybe it's setting an intention with them at the beginning of their visits. When you start a new series of treatments or a new product, again, being super, super intentional about how, the foot that you get off with on this. Making a good impression when you're, on social media. That's the beginning of a new cycle potentially, right? You think about the first time somebody comes into your space, or even down the road, even if they've been a patient or client of yours for a long time, how you appear when you greet them. Every time is like the opening of like a new cycle. And I think too of this is like the promise of a new beginning. when you're like, "Oh, wow, I am the embodied promise of beautiful, healthy skin for someone," you know, potentially helping people start new and positive cycles or habits, or helping them break unhealthy patterns, things that maybe they're a picker, maybe they don't wear sunblock, whatever it is, it's like there's just a really beautiful energy, I think, around this. And so, my aesthetic professionals, I'm like, capitalize on that, like that's the intent. I obviously will share more over on Instagram where I keep posting the energy tips for the treatment room, each week, where we're looking at oils, frequencies, all the things that are going to be very subtle and supportive for you when you're treating your patients and clients. So go check that out at Michaela McLean. Give me a follow. All right. Do you have this gate in your chart? So again, the root is at the very bottom. And on the left-hand side at the top of that, you're going to find gate 53. So if it is colored in black, red, or red and black, you have this gate defined somewhere in your chart. If it's white, you don't have it, but maybe look across. Maybe you have the 42 colored in. That would mean you get the full channel. Maybe you're getting a little boost of like starting something this week, and you naturally have the 42 and have the power to finish it. Or you're like me and you have no part of this channel, it's like, hey, I just get to experience it and observe it. That's wonderful too, but again, people with this particular if they have the full channel, they're really attuned to like life cycles and patterns. It's very interesting. Okay, so anyway, always love to hear about it, and you know what? I'm on Threads now, so, like, this is where I wanna have this conversation. If you're hearing this, same username at Michaela McLean. I'm trying to I'm like, I love to talk about this stuff, and I wanna have this conversation with people, and I think that that could be a really great place to have it. So, 53, I'm gonna go post about it. Would love to hear your thoughts. If you have it, maybe somebody in your life has it. I'm all about look at everybody's chart. It's all good. Um, so yeah, hit me up over on Instagram Threads and let me know. All right, I will be back soon with more. If this episode was of value to you, I would love it if you would leave it a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts to help it be discovered by more people. And that's the way between that, following me and Aesthetic Record, how you will enter to win that $975 ticket to Aesthetic Next 5.0. So don't forget about doing that. And of course, if you want to learn more human design, check out that free guide. Takes you to an $11 class, my course, memberships, trainings that are coming. So much cool stuff. Yeah, I'm just like, dang girl, having like talk about cycles. I'm having a reflection moment of like, all right, you've done a decent amount in this last year. Like, good job. I've always say, I don't give myself credit for what I've done. It's always like, I have so much more to do. And I'm like, you know what? You've done a little bit this year. Okay. So of course, at Michaela McLean, all the links are in the show notes. And of course, until next time, have a beautiful day.